There's a film out right now called Young Washington. Anybody seen that? Okay. Did you like it?
Yes.
Cool. I haven't yet. I've heard good things. I want to. It looked really neat from the trailer that I saw. So this is the other end of his life. This is within a couple of years of his death. And so this is his farewell address as he's leaving the presidency. And one of the big reminders, the big themes of that address, and it's brief, it's readable, I recommend it to you, is this constant reminder to guard against division, factions, to preserve unity, to value your unity as Americans, whatever part or region you're from, we're Americans, let's stick together on that. He warns against what he calls the party spirit, and that's worth thinking through. And so that's part of the point he's making here. Citizens by birth or choice of a common country, that country has a right to concentrate your affections. The name of American, which belongs to you in your national capacity, must always exalt the just pride of patriotism more than any appellation derived from local discriminations. In other words, that ought to be the thing that we celebrate, that holds us together. And now, catch this next part. He's going to note what we all have in common as Americans. With slight shades of difference, you have the same religion, manners, habits, and political principles. You have in common cause fought and triumphed together. The independence and liberty you possess are the work of joint councils and joint efforts of common dangers, sufferings, and successes. Now, sometimes religion, as discussed in the literature of the founding, is just understood in a generic sense, right? These descriptions of the value of religion and religious contribution to American life could equally be applied to Hinduism and Islam. You know, we hear in the pluralism of our time. But note what President Washington says here. With slight shades of difference, you have the same religion. What religion must he be referring to? It can only be Christianity, right? He's talking about denominational distinctions. And this is a reason we don't have an established church. So the Congregationalists or the Baptists or the Presbyterians aren't in any one denomination subjected to all the doctrinal impositions of other Christian denominations. Again, in that book by Dr. Dreisbach, he notes that at the time of the founding, 98% of the American population were in some Protestant Christian denomination. That's just a matter of historical record. So that's what he's obviously referring to, and that should be clearly kept in mind when we come a few paragraphs later to this. Of all the dispositions and habits which lead to political prosperity, religion and morality are indispensable supports. Now again, which religion? The one we all share with various shades of difference, Christianity. In vain would that man claim the tribute of patriotism who should labor to subvert these great pillars of human happiness, these firmest props of the duties of men and citizens. The mere politician, equally with the pious man, ought to respect and to cherish them. A volume, that is to say a whole book, could not trace all their connections with private and public felicity, which is to say, if you want real happiness in your home and in your nation, Christianity is what you need. Let it simply be asked, where is the security for property, for reputation, for life, if the sense of religious obligation desert the oaths which are the instrument of investigation in courts of justice? And let us with caution indulge the supposition that morality can be maintained without religion, whatever may be conceded to the influence of refined education on minds of peculiar structure, reason, and experience, both forbid us to expect that national morality can prevail in exclusion of religious principle. In other words, without Christianity. Now look at the date, 1796. What's going on in the world? What's going on in France? Bloodshed, right? The French Revolution. Why is he taking such pains to say, look, we're not a secular enlightenment project. We believe here that it's Christianity that's vitally necessary to preserve liberty and prosperity, because they're seeing it go badly wrong in France. And so to come back to this idea that there's a necessary connection between our love for Christ, devotion to Christ, and our love for our nation, you don't need to choose. And in fact, your nation is depending on you not dividing those things up. What America most needs from you is your Christian life.